She walked into that courtroom with nothing but the truth on her side. But the man in uniform across from her, he had something else. A story he made up. A lie designed to destroy her life. To him, she was just another black woman who wouldn't be believed. But what he didn't know was who he was really up against. And when the truth came out, it wouldn't just shatter his case. It would turn the entire room silent. So, what happens when a lie meets a woman with nothing left to lose? Before that day, Maya Jackson's life was defined by discipline, service, and quiet pride. She lived in a modest home near the coast, starting her mornings with a run along the shoreline before heading to her post. To her neighbors, she was the friendly woman who waved on her way to work. To her colleagues, she was the calm under pressure, the one you wanted in your corner when things went wrong. No one knew the depth of her commitment, or the battles she had already fought in silence. That morning was like any other. Coffee in hand, uniform neatly pressed, she stepped into the world without a second thought. But beyond the calm routine, a storm was already building, one that would drag her into a place where truth and lies would collide, and where the color of her skin would weigh heavier than her years of honor and sacrifice. It began with a single traffic stop. Maya had been driving home after a long shift, her mind still running through the day's tasks. The flashing red and blue lights in her rear view caught her off guard. She wasn't speeding, hadn't run a light. Still, she eased over to the shoulder, heart steady, mind calm. She'd dealt with police before, but something in the way this officer approached her car set her on edge. He didn't ask for her license right away. Instead, his eyes scanned her like she was a problem waiting to happen. The questions came sharp and invasive. Where are you coming from? Why are you in this neighborhood? As if she didn't belong in her own city. She answered calmly, but his suspicion only seemed to deepen. By the time she was allowed to leave, her stomach knotted. She thought it was over. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, she received a summons. The officer had filed a report claiming she had resisted, acted aggressively, and even threatened him. The accusations read like a story about someone else, a criminal, not the woman who had served her country for over a decade. Shock gave way to disbelief, which in turn gave way to anger. How could he twist the truth so easily? The first court date was worse than she imagined. As she sat in the front row, she watched him take the stand, voice steady as he painted her as a danger to society. The prosecutor nodded along, treating every word as fact. Each sentence felt like another layer of dirt being shoveled over her name. She wanted to speak, to shout, to demand the truth be heard, but she was told to wait. Outside the courthouse, whispers followed her. Neighbors she'd known for years avoided eye contact. At the grocery store, she caught a stranger staring before pulling out a phone, recording her like she was a public threat. The lie was spreading faster than she could fight it. But Maya wasn't someone who broke under pressure. Every deployment, every grueling mission she had survived had built a steel core inside her, and now she would need every ounce of it. The next hearing was approaching, and the stakes were higher than ever. If she lost, the charges would stain her record forever, destroying her career, her reputation, her life. She had one choice: to bring everything she had into that courtroom. What the officer didn't know, what no one in that room yet realized, was that the woman he was trying to tear down had been trained for battles far more dangerous than this one. And when Maya finally decided to fight back, the truth wouldn't just come out, it would hit like a bomb. The second hearing was supposed to be routine, another slow grind through a system that felt stacked against her. But from the moment Maya stepped into that courtroom, she felt the air shift. The officer sat on the stand again, confident, his voice dripping with certainty as he repeated every fabricated detail. His eyes barely flickered toward her like she wasn't even there, like she was already guilty. But this time, Maya was ready. Her attorney rose, voice calm but razor-sharp, and began to ask the questions the officer didn't expect. Dates, times, exact phrases, tiny cracks began to appear in his testimony. The gallery grew quiet. Even the judge leaned forward. Then came the moment Maya would never forget. Her lawyer slid a folder onto the table and opened it. Inside, still photographs from a nearby security camera. Grainy, but clear enough to tell the truth. There was Maya, standing calm, hands visible. No aggression, no resistance. Just a woman being confronted for no reason. The officer froze. His jaw tightened. The courtroom's silence turned heavy, almost suffocating. In that split second, every word he had spoken began to unravel. Maya's chest rose and fell, steady but fierce. She had been in firefights overseas, but this was a different kind of battle. One fought not with weapons, but with truth. And in that moment, she realized something. The man who thought he held all the power was watching it slip through his fingers. The judge cleared his throat, his expression unreadable. Maya's eyes never left the officer's face. She wanted him to see it, that she wasn't afraid, that she had survived worse, that this lie was about to collapse under its own weight. And as the gavel struck, the tension shattered like glass. But the fight wasn't over yet. The charges against Maya were dropped that day. The judge dismissed the case, citing insufficient and unreliable evidence. The courtroom murmured, the officer shifted in his seat, and for a brief moment, justice seemed to win. But walking out of that building, Maya knew the damage couldn't be undone so easily. The whispers didn't stop overnight. The stares in the grocery store still lingered. Friends who had gone silent during the trial didn't all return. Clearing her name in court was one thing. Erasing the stain of the lie was something else entirely. She went back to work, head held high, but with a deeper understanding of a truth she had always known. Even medals, even service, even sacrifice couldn't shield her from prejudice. It wasn't just about one officer's lies, it was about a system where those lies had the power to destroy. Maya's story wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a pattern repeated across the country, where bias walks into a courtroom dressed as truth and lives are torn apart before the facts ever see daylight. She still runs along that same shoreline in the mornings, but now each stride carries a quiet defiance, a reminder that she's still here, still standing, still refusing to be erased. And as for the officer, his name faded from the headlines, his career untouched. That's the part that stings the most. Not for her, but for what it says about the world we live in. So here's the question. How many more stories like Maya's will it take before the lies stop winning?